excited about our next guest. By the way, Paulie, let me ask this. Before I bring in Ed Marinaro, there's like a standard Ivy League joke. He's probably heard it a bunch of times. Should I do it anyway or should I not do it?
You Ivy Leaguers got to have that connection.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to do that then. By the way, Ed Marinaro, I think a lot of people know him as the actor of Hill Street Blues and otherwise. He set 16 college records. He was the first running back in NCAA history to run for over 4,000 career yards. By the way, that's back when freshmen weren't allowed to play. That was 4,000 yards in 3 years. He got second in the Heisman at Cornell. You know how good you have to be to get second in the Heisman from Cornell? That is unbelievable. Ends up getting drafted in the second round by the Vikings, plays in a couple Super Bowls, has a nice NFL career, then had a great acting career. Ed, it's Ross Tucker, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Hey, sounds like it'll be fun. Like a fun guy.
Before I get into the draft stuff, Ed, my question is, does it still bother you? I know you said the other night that you're 72. Does it still bother you, like when you go to bed at night, that you didn't have the grades to get into Princeton and you had to go to Cornell?
Oh, boy. I didn't know I was going to have to deal with this crap so early in the morning. No, you know what? I actually got put on a wait list at Princeton. So it was, I'm from New Jersey. I just wanted to get further away from home. So Princeton was not, the problem was Princeton, they found out that my parents were married. So I got rejected. So
shout out, by the way. I know. Shout out, by the way, to the Princeton Diva admissions. That would have really helped our football team those 3 years if they had made sure Ed was in there. Ed, I got a lot of questions about the draft the other night. I guess the first one is, when do they tell you? When do they ask you to do that? And what kind of guidance do they give before you actually get a chance to go out there and announce a pick?
All right. Like people have been asking me this for the last, 48 hours. So that I got invited by the Vikings to come and do their draft party in Minneapolis on Thursday. Okay. And, it was kind of cool. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of contact anymore with the league or the Vikings. I go back to their Legends weekend. Anyway, so I say, sure. So, they fly my wife and I out there, and we had a good time in Minneapolis, got to see some old teammates. And then I go to Vegas for the NFL draft. Now, you got to be honest, I don't follow this stuff anymore. I'm not like, I'm not one of these draft junkies. I don't think I've ever watched the whole thing. So I get there, and they're very nice to me. So I go to they pick me up, and I go over to wherever they had the thing. I was I think it was at a hotel. Was it the Bellagio? I don't remember. Anyway. So they bring me in, and I go to the green room where all the other presenters are. I'm hanging out with like Marcus Allen and Sebastian Maniscalco, who's a great comedian who I think is great. Larry Zonka. So it's cool. So it's a little chaotic backstage, in this green room. So they come up and say, "Okay, Ed, you're the second person to go." I go, okay, so I'm getting ready. And I said, what do I do? I mean, do I go out there and let me just say this first. So before this whole thing started, they brought everybody, all the presenters out onto this stage, okay, in front of the crowd. I mean, this crowd was freaking enormous. I've never seen that many. I felt like I was at Woodstock, performing at Woodstock. It went forever. And I'm like, whoa. I said, this is crazy. So then we go back in, and they tell me, you're the second person to go. So I go, okay. So I'm getting ready. And then my son texts my wife and say, Dad's not going on next. The Vikings just traded their pick. So I go, okay. So then they come out and said, you're not going on next. I said, so when am I going to go on? I said, well, it'll probably be like an hour. I said, okay. So I go backstage. I have a brew or two, I'm talking to everybody, and having a good old time. and again, there's all this, and these people with headphones are walking around. I go, excuse me, hey, when I go out there, I mean, what do I do? I mean, do I just read that thing? They go, yeah. I go, okay, just read. I mean, can I say anything? Do you want me to say anything? And they go, yeah. I mean, can I have some fun? They go, oh yeah, that's good. They like it when you have fun. Okay. Now, no one said to me, hey, Ed, you got 60 seconds. Okay. So let's get it over with. Do what you do, blah, blah, blah. No one said anything to me. And you know what? I asked multiple times, what do I do? And no one can give me a definitive answer. And I'm not watching what the other people are doing. I didn't even, they had TVs. I couldn't hear what the other presenters were doing. So
Right.
So I go out there again. I see this crowd, and all of a sudden, my adrenaline starts going. Look, I've been in the entertainment business for 40 years. Okay, this is my dream come true. I mean, I'm looking out there, and I see them, and they're cheering and yelling, and I just got, So I'm having fun. I'm gonna have some fun. People said that I was talking about myself. Well, who am I going to talk about? Who am I supposed to talk about myself, So I get out there and I'm just reflecting a little bit about my draft experience, what I thought was funny, and a lot of people really enjoyed it. And then I'm going along and blah blah blah, and I kind of knew, I was pushing the envelope a little bit, but again, I was enjoying, the crowd was responding. Then this woman comes out, and I thought she was going to get like Will Smith me, She comes out and she goes, she did something, and I didn't really hear what she said, but I got the hint, come on, move it on. So I read the thing, and there you go. And I go off stage, and nobody said anything to me. Reflecting back, I think they were ignoring me when I came.
That was going to be my question. What was the reaction afterwards when you walked up? Because you knew that she came out and kind of cracked the whip. So when you went in there, and nobody say anything to you? They just kind of like looked the other way?
I was in my own little world at that point. And I thought I did good.
I thought you did too. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was hilarious.
I know. The funny part was, and I don't know if you could hear it, but when she came out and did the whole thing, the crowd booed her. They booed her. Again, this was happening all so fast.
Ed, question. Do you think they were booing her, or do you think they were booing you?
No, they weren't booing me. They weren't booing me. You know what? What's funny is, probably several of the people out there were Blue Mountain State fans. Guys in their 20s and 30s.
Yeah, former TV show you were on.
Yeah, and they were drunk, and they wanted something. I mean,
go Goats.
No, right. They wanted to be entertained a little bit, and nobody was doing that. Not that I knew what people were doing, but I just wanted to have some fun. And I was like blown away by the reaction. I mean, from people. I mean, my Twitter. I don't do a lot of social media stuff, but my Twitter thing got just bombed. And to be honest, like 90% of the people thought it was great, and then I had that 10% that like thought I was the worst person in the world. I mean, how could I do that?
You're not the worst person in the world.
No, I understand that. But there are people out there. Again, I had never been in any like Twitter wars, but people coming after me, like insulting me. One guy said, call me a D-list actor, and I'm at least a C-list actor. I'm not a D-list actor.
Talking with Ed Marinaro here on the Dan Patrick Show. Ross Tucker filling in for Dan. As you can tell, Ed got a lot of attention for his announcement of the Vikings' second-round pick, which, by the way, Ed was back in 1972. 16 NCAA records, got robbed of the Heisman Trophy, in my opinion, by Pat Sullivan back in 71. Here's a question I've always wanted to ask you. To my knowledge, I think I met you one time somewhere. I can't remember. But here's my question. I know you get asked this all the time. NFL or actor? Like, let's say you could only pick one, like, or maybe it's Heisman or an Emmy. Like, you're 20 years old, knowing what you know now, you're 72. Someone said, Ed, you got to pick a lane. You get to do Hill Street Blues and win an Emmy, or you get to be an NFL player and you win the Heisman and you win the Super Bowl and you play 10 years. Which one would you pick if you could? Because that, like, most people have dreams. Those are like their two dreams, like to be an actor on TV or to be an NFL player. You did both. Which dream is better? I'm dying to know.
That's a tough one, only because as an athlete, you have a certain lifespan
Right.
as an athlete. You can't. I don't want to blow my wad and have my life over at 30.
Right.
So I would have to say, like acting, obviously you have actors don't retire. They either can't remember their lines anymore or they die.
All right, so what if you could only act till you were 30? What if it's the exact same amount of time? You could have been on Hill Street Blues till you were 30, or you could have been in the NFL till you were 30.
Ross, what am I going to do after 30? That's a terrible question.
You have a degree from Cornell.
Oh, okay. So I could have
something
done
else.
Yeah. So what I would have done if I hadn't done either one of those two. Okay. I would say, what? I got more kind of self-satisfaction out of my athletic career than my acting career. I mean, I think my athletic career required a lot more, commitment, dedication.
Right.
Anybody can be an actor. If you have a pulse, you can call yourself an actor. It's remember, acting is, and it's been a great life for me, for my family. I had a great career, met great people. But it's just you pretending to be somebody else, and that's what acting is all about. As an athlete, you have to. A lot of it's God given, but a lot of it's developed. It requires you to be committed, work hard, ups and downs, overcome a lot of stuff. It's easy, you see it happen all the time. And a perfect example of what makes sports great is Tom Brady. I'm a Tom Brady fan. I mean, here's a guy who had no right to be the greatest of all time. When you look at his early career, 6th-round draft pick, backup quarterback for 4 years, he never lost his personal self-esteem. He stayed positive, and look what he did. That's the great thing about sports. Acting, is kind of, it's serendipitous. You got to get really lucky. You can get really lucky as an actor, but sports, you got to have the goods.
Yeah, you got to earn it. Ed, really appreciate the time. I thought it was hilarious Friday night. I don't like that you're getting all kinds of flack. Awesome guy, awesome to talk to. Unbelievable career, both football and acting. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Okay, Russ, thanks a lot, man. Hope we can meet in person again.
That would be great. Ed Marinaro, former NFL running back, college football Hall of Famer, of course, an actor on Hill Street Blues.